Welcome, everyone. It is January 1st, 2026, and we are here for a special event. Whether you're brand new to me or you've been in my world for a while, you've probably seen me post about soul mapping and strategy sessions. So I'm going to do this really kind of creative, fun thing with you today. I'm going to teach you about it. We're going to go through it. But I also want to kick off this call with talking about setting things passive for those of us creatrixes in here, creators, women who have loads of ideas and they don't have that much time, but they want to either bring things to the planet. And if you're in my boat right now, which is like, well, you have so many great things, but you don't have time every year to keep doing the same things because new things are coming through you. I am your girl. I am your coach. I am your guide. I feel you. So I thought, what not better of a way to literally demonstrate this to my audience, to my school. I'm recording this for the podcast. I'm recording this for my YouTube channel right now. I'm recording this for my students in Daydream Business School because it is going to be a demonstration of how we take something that means so much, that is so powerful, that it has helped so many people, that has meant so much for your work and your business and your life and your vibe and your communities and right. And what do you do with it when you like don't maybe quote unquote have time for it? Right? Am I alone there or do we feel me, right? So here's where we're doing this. The subject is in this annual envisioning event that I'd put on, from greenhouses in Massachusetts to digital recordings in my school and during the COVID era, right to now. Now it's actually going to be published in my book. I am about to hand in a fourth draft manuscript that's already at like 90,000 words. And what I'm going to be teaching you about today, the soul mapping and strategy session, is so significant and so much a part of my work and has helped so many women over the years that it had to be in the book. It had to be in the book. So when I came to January again, I was like, oh my God, am I doing this? Am I putting on an event? I used to charge, like literally charge seats to the show. Whether we were in person, you do the sign. I would do this live. People could pay to sign up, or if you were in my school, you got access to it. It was this usually like 2-hour event, and I've done it every year for like years. I don't even know if I've taken a year off since I started doing it. And I came to the realization of like, what am I going to do this year? I do not have the time or bandwidth or energy right now to put on a 2-hour event, to market it for the last 3 weeks of the year. You know how it goes. So I decided this. How about I read it to you guys from the book, and we'll see how long it takes. We'll see how it sounds. Again, this is fourth draft edition. This now, after like by the weekend, I'll be finished with the last few chapters and it goes to my editor and she will work through it. Yay, here comes some more people. Let me just let people in. I let the women in my business school come to this live recording as they get access to me and all I do throughout the year. So I'm going to read it to you from the book. And I may break the book, like break through the sentence and talk to you or throw in a little extra vibes because I'm a talker baby. I'm a teacher, I'm a talker, and I can't stop myself. But I thought, what a cool way to demonstrate how to take this and set it passive. So what I mean by that, let me explain that a little bit more, is that I really love to help and teach women to not have to necessarily repeat themselves over and over again. Or if they have moved on from a body of work, what to do with it, where to put it, how to address it, where to place it, if you are being called to other things. I am a master at this. And when I say master, I will also say that I really, I move through my creations, but I've had to mature through moving through my creations as I've aged and as my work has aged. Before, when I was over something, it would be very much like even in my adolescent years, it would be like I'd burn it to the ground. And I've learned over the years, like I don't have to burn things to the ground. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be, and you can set it down and walk away from it. But I don't need to burn things to the ground anymore. Hey, some things deserve a dumpster fire, right? But usually the dumpster fire moments are coming from burnout or they're coming when you've lost the eros, the connection, the spiritual connection, or when you've lost the creative forces and energy. My teacher calls it when you've lost the erotic to something. It's when you really want to dumpster fire it. So what I did here and how I've been maturing into this, setting things passive, is that it's now in a book. It's in a book that is going to go to thousands of hearts and eyes and ears and souls around the world. I love this. I have respect for this. There is reverence for this. But I don't need to be doing it live every January anymore. Hey, maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. But this year, I'm going to have some creative fun. And my word for the year is 2 words, LOL. It is, I think I've been landing and playing with sacred play. I really want some sacred play. Last year, my word was potency, and I wrote a post about all that I did last year just a few days ago, so go check that out. Good Lord, that was quite the word. I did not choose that word. It chose me. But this year I can feel in that 1 year and what I'm doing, like I just coming off of the 9 cycle and coming into the 1 and what's happening and how big this book is going to be and all of the projects and stages and engagements and invitations and certifications and like, oh, like there's I already got my new notebook for the podcasters. I'm sorry, I'm showing them my new notebook. And I already wrote out, want me to just show you? Because I know you're all here for Jamie Grace story time. My 2026 goals and aspirations, baby, already fucking written out, 5, 6 pages in, and that'll be what a quick look at the year looks like. I sat down and did this with my kids screaming about their freaking putty, or what are they playing with? Oh, slime. God, who the fuck invented slime? I can't. We had to like cut it out of my daughter's hair last night. Anyway, I digress. This year feels really potent and really powerful. So let's move into the soul mapping bit a bit more. This year feels really big for a lot of people. I am really sensing that a lot of people will be waking up energetically, spiritually, and consciously this year. I think this is going to be a huge rise in leadership this year. For those of us that have been on the ground and in the muck and in the healing and upgrading and facing, and I don't know what we've been doing, y'all, but we've been doing it. And I think it's going to be a big time of leadership for us. So that's what I love helping the women in my school get clear about too, is, like being prepared for the avalanches of people waking up who are going to need their work. And that is a huge mission for what I'm here for. And we have been working, we have been designing, we have been diddling away. Jen says, yes, planning on transitioning out of my job. Yeah, big year for people. Big year. So a lot of awakening happening and healing happening, and a lot of those transitions happening, a lot of leadership happening, and more. We're hearing it from psychics and mediums and channelers around the world. And I fucking love hearing this stuff. Feel into what you're feeling, take it or leave it, but I feel like a big year is happening. The next decade is going to be wild, to be completely honest, but let's just stay in this year. I'm recording this in 2026. So I just had a client session earlier too, and it was just profound to see as we're looking at her year and her quarter and then her month of like what wanted to come through, and these creations that are already here. This is what I teach about. This is what the book's about. These creations already have their own frequency, their own blueprint, their own transmission, and what they're here to do. And they're looking for the best people who will make them and create them on the planet. Right. So in this soul mapping, where it's a 2-part system, and we're going to do the visioning work, and then we're going to come back and goal set around it. Okay. So I'm going to read to you. And I know this may look annoying, and I'm going to be looking over here and not at you, and that's fine. Podcasters, you don't care. We're doing it anyway. I'm going to get this out. I might stumble over my words. Who the fuck knows? I'm going to try to read like 13 pages to you right now. This book has been kicking my ass, and not just energetically and physically, but on the level of like, who am I to do this? What I feel so like, is this worth it? All that. And then on the other hand, I'm like, this is going to change lives. So it's like whiplashing back and forth. You're in between your doubt and your faith, and it's a fucking crazy ride. I'm too far down the road with this project to not move forward. So, all right, let me take my sips. Back to back sips of water and coffee. Let's fucking go. All right. Get yourself cozy. Maybe lay down for this and just come on the ride with me. If you can't close your eyes, don't close your eyes. If you can go look outside, go look outside. All right? Just be here now and let me transport you into this experience. All right, this will technically be, as of now, chapter 7, soul mapping. The first time I was ever invited into a visioning and goal setting workshop, I didn't realize how profoundly it would shape my life. At the time, I was working at Lululemon, still straddling the worlds of corporate structure and soul calling. And we were being trained in Brian Tracy's goal setting method, learning how to clarify long term desires and then reverse engineer them so the future could begin to organize itself in the present. It was the first time I had been shown that vision wasn't just something you hoped for, it was something you could track, work backwards from, and consciously walk toward. Even then, I could feel there was something powerful in this process, something stabilizing, something clarifying. When I dropped into that first vision, I saw my husband and me leading communities. At the time, 2013, we were yoga teachers and personal trainers, still working corporate jobs, still very much in the in between. But the vision was clear. I could see that we were not meant to work in isolation. Community was central. I also noticed something else that surprised me. The community space existed near our home, but not inside of it. It wasn't a commune. It wasn't a shared living. It was close enough to feel intimate, but far enough to preserve a sense of sanctuary. That mattered deeply to me, even back then, because while I am deeply relational and community oriented, my nervous system and my marriage require solitude, privacy, and sacred personal space. Seeing that distinction in the vision let me stop romanticizing paths that didn't fit our energy. The funny part about that is that we just moved into our dream house and it's 6 minutes down the road from our gym. Like, literally, like, in our backyard, but not our backyard. I need to fit that into this. We'll see what my editor says. I'm like, "Should I go there? I don't know." I saw children, I saw impact. I saw a life that felt full, alive, meaningful, busy, and purposeful. What struck me most was not the specifics, but the recognition. I knew in my bones that what I was seeing lived in my heart's deepest desires. It wasn't aspirational fluff, it was remembered. A few months later, in 2013, I led one of these goal setting workshops for the community at the Lululemon store. But instead of stopping where the traditional method ended, I took people further. I guided them beyond the intellectual goal setting and into the felt experience of their future. I dropped them into a single ordinary day in their lives 10 years out, into a timeline that existed in the fields of potential, held within their soul blueprint, their purpose, their divine architecture. The response was immediate and profound. People didn't just think about their future, they recognized themselves in it. That was the moment I realized how deep my work actually went. I saw my magic clearly. I understood my potency. I knew that my gift wasn't just strategy, nor was it just spirituality. It was the ability to bring people into contact with what was already waiting for them, and then help them build a grounded map to get there. From that point on, I began leading these experiences yearly, blending deep future timeline visioning with Brian Tracy's reverse engineering structure. Vision without structure floats. Structure without vision suffocates. Together, they become the path. As I move forward, launching our gym, stepping into coaching, leading retreats and events, I continued this work in physical spaces. For several years, I hosted these soul mapping strategy sessions every January at Briggs Nursery in Massachusetts. They would tuck us into a heated botanical center filled with plants and trees, surrounded us with living greenery in the dead of winter, and let us gather there. Women would pile in to sit together during the ceremony. We would envision, we would map, we would anchor in the future. During the COVID years, these sessions moved online, but the potency never left. Again and again, women saw what was possible for them and then walked away with a real plan for how to move toward it. I did this work for myself every year too. Over time, I began to see something clear. An office in the future, shelves lined with my books. I saw covers, colors, vibes. I saw myself writing again and again. This mattered because I have wanted to write books since I was little. People have always told me I should. But seeing it embodied, seeing it already real, something changed in me. I also saw a calendar full of teaching, travel, and leadership. I knew I had children. I knew we had a beautiful home. I knew I was busy, but fulfilled. What's wild is this. As I edit this chapter, preparing this book for publishing, I am standing almost exactly where that future vision once showed me. I'm not fully there yet, but I am right on the edge. I'm about to publish my first book. I've built an entire business school with 17 courses and hundreds of classes. I've worked with women from around the world. My work is alive. And the reason I stayed the course through grief, loss, chaos, global upheaval, and personal transformation is that I had a map. The act of soul mapping anchored me when the world felt unstable. They reminded me of who I was becoming when it would have been easier to forget. And that is why we are here now. I can't make it through this book without crying. I'm like, this moves me so much. Oh, I just wrote a post about that. Okay, let me keep going. After everything you've explored in chapter 1 through 6 so far, your soul purpose, your expertise, your energy, your channel, the spirit of your business, the ideas that want to be born through you, it's time to widen the lens. Before we build anything on top of that, we need to see how far this path could actually go. What is available for you? What timeline is quietly waiting? What desire has been living in your heart, asking to be witnessed? Because when you can see the future you're building, you stop wandering. You stop second guessing. You stop building from fear. You begin building from truth. And that's what we're going to do now. Seeing the road ahead. Soul mapping is where the mystical meets the practical, where vision meets direction, where your future self meets your present day choices. After all the energetic groundwork you've done, clearing your channel, connecting with your higher self, collaborating with the spirit of your business, this is where everything you've discovered begins to take shape. Soul mapping is the process I use to help you see the road ahead rather than mindlessly walk it. At its simplest, soul mapping is the art of connecting with the future vision of yourself, the woman who has already followed through on her purpose, honored her desires, built her body of work, and stepped into the life she felt pulsing in her chest long before it existed. We visit her not to fantasize or escape, but to understand. What did she build? What mattered most? And how did she get there? We then bring that information back to the present and use it to create a grounded, strategic map forward. Map for the path forward. I've been guiding people through this practice since 2013, and the results still astonish me. Time after time, clients say, I can't believe how fast this started to show up. Not because soul mapping is fluffy magic, but because intentional focus over time is one of the most potent forces on the planet. When you combine vision, energy, strategy, and daily alignment, things move quickly. Doors open, opportunities appear, momentum builds. You stop wandering and start navigating. For more than a decade, I've offered my signature soul mapping and strategy session as a deeply guided experience that blends quantum visioning with real world planning. First, I lead you into the field of potential, where we explore a future timeline illuminated by your heart's most authentic desires. You get to see what you're building before you build it. Then we return to the present moment and craft a strategy map that helps you stay aligned with the future. The map becomes a compass, a guide, a north star for your daily actions and long term decisions. Soul mapping is not just visionary work, it's a reset. It lifts you out of the fog, the confusion, the stuckness, and launches you into the clarity of who you are becoming. It aligns your energy and your strategy so the path ahead feels both inspired and doable. It connects the soulful with the logistical, the intuitive with the practical, the dream with the implementation. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds you that your future is not random. It is shaped by your intention, it is fueled by your devotion, and activated the moment you choose to walk toward it. Are we enjoying this book yet, ladies? My ladies haven't really heard any of the book yet. I have a few of them live on here, so I'd love to hear how they're feeling with this. I did just tell you all to lay down, so stay laying down if you need to. Okay. Steph said, yes, I love it. Jen said, I love it. So fucking good, right? Getting to here, though, was a long 2.5 journey. Okay. Common blocks that arise during soul mapping. No matter how intuitive, spiritually connected, disciplined, or self aware you are, almost everyone encounters resistance the first time they sit down to map out their future. This resistance is not a sign that something is wrong or that you're failing at the process. In fact, it's often the most ambiguous. Fuck, I gotta work on that word. I need a different word. Ambiguous. See, I know, I can't. Indication that you're doing it right. Soul mapping stretches you beyond the identity you've already lived. It asks your nervous system to touch possibility, to hold expansion, and to relate to a future that hasn't yet become familiar. This alone can feel destabilizing at first. One of the most common experiences people report is, I can't see anything. This can feel discouraging, especially if you consider yourself intuitive or imaginative. But this block has very little to do with your ability to receive guidance and everything to do with where you've been trained to live internally. Most people spend decades operating almost exclusively from the mind, planning, analyzing, reacting, and rarely giving the heart, the body, or the intuitive field space to speak. When you finally do invite those deeper layers forward, they don't arrive with cinematic clarity. Often, what comes first is a feeling, a tone, a subtle sense of expansion, a color, a knowing, or a whisper. Many people do receive, oh, saying my speaker's not working properly. It better be working properly. Many people do receive something, but dismiss it because it doesn't look dramatic enough. Soul mapping isn't about fantasy or forced visualization. It's about frequency. And frequency often speaks softly before it speaks loudly. Another standard block is the feeling that what you're seeing is too big, too ambitious, or completely unrealistic. The reaction is natural. You've been introduced to a version of yourself who has lived 10 more years of growth, healing, experience, and self trust that your current self has. Of course, that version feels very unfamiliar. Of course, it stretches you. But feeling stretched doesn't mean you're imagining something false. It usually means you're brushing up against something true. When a vision feels expansive, it's often because it exists beyond the inherited limitations you've absorbed from family, culture, or past conditioning. Your soul does not dream in increments that feel comfortable to your fear. Closely related to this quiet, painful question many women carry, which is, what am I to do with this? This block has nothing to do with arrogance or entitlement and everything to do with old programming. Many of us were taught to shrink, to be grateful for less, to not want too much, and to avoid standing out. When a future vision asks you to take up more space and be more visible or receive more support, it can trigger deep wounds to your sense of worthiness. But your vision is not an egoic demand, it's an assignment. Desire of this magnitude do not arrive randomly. If a vision is coming through you, it's because there is something in your frequency that matches it. Your desires are directional. They point you toward the work your soul came here to express. For others, especially caregivers, mothers, daughters of struggling parents, or those who have long been the emotional backbone of their families or communities, soul mapping can trigger guilt. Imagining a future that looks more spacious, more fulfilled, or more resourced than your present life can feel selfish or disloyal. You might worry that wanting more somehow means abandoning others. But soul mapping is not about leaving people behind. It's about expanding your capacity so deeply that everyone around you benefits. A woman who is aligned, resourced, and expressed does not take from her ecosystem. She nourishes it. Your growth is not a betrayal, it's a contribution. Another standard block that shows up as fear of being is the another standard block shows up as fear of being wrong. What if you choose the wrong path? What if you waste time? What if you misinterpret the vision and somehow derail your destiny? This fear assumes that soul mapping is a rigid contract, when in reality, it's a living compass. You cannot get this wrong. You are not locking yourself into a single outcome of closing off other possibilities. You are simply orienting toward the highest available expression of your current self. As you evolve, your map evolves with you. Soul mapping guides, it does not confine. Overwhelm is another typical response, especially when people try to map out their entire 10 years lived at once. When the mind attempts to collapse a decade of growth into a single moment, it panics. But soul mapping does not ask you to execute the whole vision today. It only asks you to stay in relationship with the next aligned step, the next conversation, the next decision, the next 12 weeks of focused devotion. The universe does not require instant mastery, it responds to participation. Some people struggle to access their vision not because it isn't there, but because their inner field is too noisy. Excessive scrolling, constant external input, other people's opinions, and unprocessed stress can clutter the channel. When the signal is buried under noise, clarity becomes harder to receive. This is precisely why the earlier chapters, clearing your channel, reconnecting to your intuition, and learning discernment, were essential. Vision requires space. Silence is not emptiness, it is the doorway. Emotional activation is another experience that surprises many people. Sometimes the future you glimpse brings tears. Sometimes it brings anger, grief, longing, or an ache you didn't know how to name. You might feel the pain of not being there yet, or the relief of remembering who you're becoming. This is not a block, it's a breakthrough. Emotion is evidence that you touched something real. Your body recognized a version of you that already exists, and it responded to that reunion. A quieter but deeply rooted block is the belief, I don't trust myself enough. This often stems from past failures, perfectionism, or experiences of abandonment, either by others or by yourself. But soul mapping does not require you to trust that you'll execute perfectly. It asks you to trust that you can stay on your path in a relationship. Progress is built through presence and participation, not flawlessness. Finally, one of the biggest blocks of all is trying to be realistic too soon. When practicality enters the vision phase prematurely, it strangles possibility before it can breathe. There will be time for strategy. There will be time for logistics, pacing, and grounded planning. But if you filter your future through your current limitations, you'll never see what's actually available to you. Let the vision be big, let it stretch you, let it feel unreasonable for a moment. The grounding comes later. Every one of these blocks is part of the initiation. None of them disqualifies you. They simply mark the places where growth is happening. And as you continue forward, you'll learn how to work with these edges instead of fearing them, using them as signposts that are indeed on the right path, that you are indeed on the right path. I got to take a sip of water real quick. Okay, next section. The truth about blocks. See how I had to put this first? Believe me, after doing this and facilitating this for so many years, decided the blocks don't need to be after it. The blocks need to come before it because literally these are all the blocks I've heard women have over the years. The truth about blocks. Here's the truth most people never hear clearly enough. Every block you encounter on this path is actually the same block wearing different costumes. At its core, resistance is not a flaw in you, a lack of discipline, or a sign that you're not ready. It is the natural response that arises when you begin expanding beyond who you've already been. Your body, your nervous system, and your subconscious have learned how to survive as the version of you that exists today, even if that version feels constricted, underexpressed, or misaligned. It is familiar. And familiarity feels safe. When you begin to touch a future that requires you to think bigger, be more visible, receive more, lead more, or trust yourself more deeply, part of you will understandably hesitate. That hesitation is not sabotage, it is self-protection, doing what it is designed to do. Nothing is wrong with you, nothing is broken, nothing needs to be fixed or healed away before you move forward. Blocks are not enemies, they are thresholds. Your job is not to eliminate resistance, override fear, or spiritually bypass discomfort. Your job is to stay present with yourself as expansion happens, to remain curious instead of judgmental, to keep showing up for your path even when it feels unfamiliar, tender, or slow. Resistance does not dissolve because you force it away. It dissolves because your system learns through repetition and lived experience that the new terrain is safe to inhabit. This is why practice matters more than epiphany. You don't outthink your way into becoming the future version of yourself. You walk your way there, step by step, breath by breath, choice by choice. Each time you stay connected to your vision despite discomfort, your nervous system rewires. Each time you take an aligned action, even a small one, your capacity expands. What once felt terrifying eventually becomes normal. What once felt impossible becomes routine. The future version of you, the one you glimpsed in your soul mapping session, already exists. She is not something you need to earn or prove yourself worthy of. She is a friend you are learning. She is a friend you are learning how to meet. Every block you encounter is simply part of the calibration process, adjusting your system so you can hold more responsibility, more expression, more impact, and more truth. So if you feel resistance, let it be a signal, not to stop, but to slow down and stay with yourself. Let it remind you that you are crossing a meaningful threshold. Expansion always feels like this before it feels like home. Now that we've named the blocks for what they are, we can stop fearing them. We can stop negotiating with them. And we can move forward with clarity, compassion, and confidence. Now let's step into the practice itself. How we doing so far, ladies? How we doing? Mm, 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 mm. I have read this book so many fucking times, it's not even funny. That's the only way I can do this so smoothly is that I just have to keep rereading it. This is just such a great example too of like, I've been teaching this for like what, since 2026. And I've been doing this since like 2013. Not every year, but a lot of them. Let's say like a decade. Me sitting down and have to write out what the fuck this is and what it does and the blocks and this and that, right? It's like I've probably never been able to explain it so deeply as I am now, you know? Hosting, being live, like me just talking and speaking with no script, because you know me, Jamie, I could go for hours, no script, baby. Not even a breath, not even a freaking sip of water, right? So to really sit down and put your processes on paper is quite the experience. Okay. So now we're going to go into part 1, soul mapping, all right? This one you probably will want to like meditate for, lay down for, listen to this, okay? So soul mapping. Also, can I just say, can a future of me reading my books out loud? Oh, this is like that. This is why I'm like, I am manifesting this right now by doing it right now, day 1 of the year, January 1st. 2026. I'm not waiting for someone to invite me to a stage. I'm fucking doing it now with the audience I have, with the audiences I have. I have a podcast. I have a YouTube channel. I have a bump in business school. I have social media. Like, why would I wait? Stop waiting for people to fucking give you the invitation unless you're a projector. But still, even for projectors, they need to create the scenario where someone would invite them. Right? So I was like, I'm not waiting to be on stages later this year. And when the book comes out, I have the book. I have the book. I hold the book. I am reading it now. I am speaking it now. Okay. My husband's taking the children to the gym. So I get the whole house. I get to take up the whole house. All right. Soul mapping, part 1, the vision. Soul mapping begins with permission. Permission to meet the future version of yourself who is already living the life your soul is calling you toward. Permission to look ahead without shrinking, bargaining, or editing what you see. This is not about fantasy or wishful thinking, nor about forcing outcomes. It is about entering a receptive, meditative state where you can access the deeper intelligence of your path, the part of you that already knows where this is going. This future version of you is not separate. She is not a someday self. She is you, shaped by years of aligned choices, devotion, growth, healing, discipline, and courage. Soul mapping simply gives you a way to meet her consciously and to allow her perspective to inform the present. Begin by setting aside quiet, uninterrupted time. This matters more than people realize. This is not a practice to rush through or squeeze into the margins of your day. You are signaling to your nervous system and your soul that this matters. Sit comfortably. Let your breath slow. Allow your attention to drop out of your head and into your body, into your heart, into the deeper listening spaces beneath thought. Clear your channel the same way you've practiced earlier in this book. Anchor into the earth and feel the support beneath you. Gently expand your heart field without effort. Call in your higher self, not as something outside of you, but as the most integrated, wise, and coherent version of your own consciousness. Create inner spaciousness. This is not about trying harder. It's about becoming available. From this grounded and open space, set a simple intention. You can say it silently or out loud. Show me a version of my life 10 years from now that is aligned with my soul's purpose and my deepest, most authentic desires. Then release any attachment to how that answer should arrive. Some people receive clear visuals. Others sense emotions, textures, atmospheres, or a felt knowing of this is who I am. You might notice ordinary details that carry extraordinary resonance. The rhythm of your mornings, the way your body feels as you move through the day, the energy of your work, the environment you're in, the people around you, the pace of your life. Think of it as being dropped into one ordinary day in a life that feels deeply right compared to where you are now. You are not analyzing or judging what you receive. You are observing. You are allowing. You are asking gently and honestly, what does my life look and feel like 10 years from now if I stay aligned with my purpose? When you sense that the experience is complete, begin to return slowly. Feel your body again. Feel the ground beneath you. Let yourself re enter the present way you came back. The present, let yourself re enter the present the way you would return from a vivid dream or a deep meditation, gradually with care. Once you are fully back, write everything down while it is still fresh. Do not censor or organize. These impressions are the raw material of your long range North Star. I'm going to now take you through the energetic technique, but that section just had to give like you the whole picture of what it looks like before you go in and do it step by step. Okay. Um, I might have to hop back and forth to another chapter too, because chapters before this, I have a whole clear your channel exercise, and it might be easier for me to do that. So we'll play around with this and see if I do that. I will walk you through it for those of you that are just like laying down and listening. Okay. So soul mapping. Now we're going to go into the energetic technique. That was just like setting the ground way and the pace for you, okay? So the energetic technique here, what follows is the deeper version of the soul mapping process I guide people through in sessions. This is a profound inner journey, mystical, yes, but also deeply anchored in the truth of your heart's desires. This is not imagination in the casual sense. It is remembrance. It is attunement. It is listening beneath the noise of conditioning and fear. Step one, create the container. Choose a quiet, undisturbed space where you will not be interrupted. Dim the lights, or light a candle, sit near a window, or outside in nature that feels supportive. The goal is not aesthetics, it is presence. Step two, clear your channel. Anchor into the earth, feel gravity holding you, expand your heart field, open your inner column of light so your system becomes receptive rather than efforting. Let yourself soften into that process. Now, because if you are holding the book, you'd be able to go back to the chapter Clear Your Channel. I'm going to do it for you, baby. All right. So let's go back to Clear Your Channel. I'm just waiting for it to pop up. And I'm going to walk you through clearing your channel, okay? Now, I'm not reading that chapter right now because that's a whole other thing. I'm going to go right into the channel clearing process with you right now. Again, it has a whole chapter above it, but I can't do that right now. I'm going right to my process. Like if I was opening up the book right now and could go right to that process, that's what we're doing. The channel clearing process. Before beginning, settle somewhere that feels supportive, whether that's outside in nature, with your feet on the earth, or outside or inside whether that's outside in nature, with your feet on the earth, or in a quiet, safe environment inside. The more relaxed your system feels, the more your channel opens. 1. Enter a quiet or sacred space. Find a place where your system can unwind, a patch of grass, a sunlit room near your altar, your bed, or anywhere you can sit or lay undisturbed. Your environment matters. Your energy field softens and expands more easily in spaces that feel safe and grounding. 2, we're going to now activate the conscious breath. Begin breathing intentionally. Inhale with awareness. Exhale with ease. Conscious breath turns on your energetic body. It signals your field to wake up, open, and become receptive. Take 2 or 3 more intentional breaths so that we can reset your entire system now. 3, drop into your heart center. Shift your attention to the center of your chest, your heart space. Imagine your breath moving in and out of this area. With each inhale, allow your heart's field to expand. With each exhale, let it soften. Gradually let this heart energy grow, breathing until you can feel your heart's energy field a foot above your body, a foot below your body, and about 6 feet out from your chest in every direction. This may take time. Apply the 1% rule. Expand just a little bit more each day. You probably won't feel that right away if you've never done that. Maybe it's a few inches out from the heart, in front of you, behind you, above you, below you. Right? And then you just keep coming back to this practice of breathing and expanding your heart's field. 4, ground into Mother Earth. Once your heart field is engaged, imagine a golden thread of light, your personal etheric cord, dropping down from your heart center, past your legs and into the earth. Feel it anchoring deep into the earth plane, wrapping securely around or plugging into the crystalline core at the planet's center, also known as the heart of Mother Earth. Grounding isn't visualization, it's sensation, a drop, a settling, a remembering of where you came from. 5, draw up earth energy. From this anchored place, breathe up the stabilizing, cleansing, nourishing energy of the earth. Let it rise through your cord and into your body. Feel it replenishing you, strengthening you, clearing away what isn't yours. This crystalline energy is one of the purest forms of support available to you. It steadies your nervous system and activates your channel. Run the energy up through your channel, step 6. Once the earth energy reaches your heart, continue guiding it upward. Let it travel through your golden thread of light, your etheric cord, through your throat, your third eye, and out the crown of your head. Imagine sending this grounded, luminous energy up your column of light toward your divine self, the highest, most expanded aspect of you. Continue breathing. It will help clear and expand your channel. You're now activating your full vertical channel from earth to heart to the divine. This is what makes you a living bridge between worlds. 7, set your intention. Only after your channel is clear should you ask for guidance. Clarity comes when the signal is unobstructed. Ask yourself, what am I seeking right now? Guidance? Healing? Next steps? Creative insight? Recalibration? Is there any healing or recalibration I could receive from Mother Earth or my divine higher self right now? What is it I really truly need in this moment? State it clearly, gently, without force. Intention directs the frequency of what you receive. I'm going to go right into the section now of connecting with your higher self because we are going to use our higher self to guide us on this journey. This is all in chapter 3, which is called Clear Your Channel. And now I'm just scrolling down to the section of connecting with your higher self. I am looking at paragraphs of explanation on that. I'm not going there for you today. That will be another reading. But right now we're going to hop right back into the exercise. Now that you've cleared your channel, anchored into Mother Earth, and drawn pure supportive energy up through your field, you're ready to connect with your higher self. Think of this as a conscious meeting between your human self and the wiser, wider you who already remembers the path. One, begin where we left off, which is where we just are right now. Start from a cleared state. Your field is anchored into the earth, your breath is steady, and you've already drawn nourishing energy up through your body and channel. Feel your feet, your seat, and your body supported. Let your nervous system know we are safe, we are here. Two, bring your awareness into your channel. With your eyes closed or softened, gently place your attention on the inner light channel or golden etheric cord, the subtle pathway that runs through the center of your body. There is no need to see it perfectly, just sense it as a vertical line of energy connecting you from earth to above. Three, let your consciousness rise. On a slow inhale, imagine your awareness traveling up through this channel, up from your heart, past your throat, through your mind, and slightly above the crown of your head. You're not leaving your body, you're expanding your awareness. Allow yourself to reach for a clear, softer, more spacious feeling above you. Four, notice the click or soft landing. At some point, you may feel a subtle shift, like a stop or soft landing, an inner click, a feeling of warmth, expansion, stillness, tingles, or ease. There is no wrong way for this to show up. This is simply the place where your higher self is meeting you. Trust whatever you feel, even if it's very gentle. Five, sit in counsel and receive. Stay here and breathe. Imagine you're sitting with the wisest version of yourself. You may ask a simple question, such as, what do I already know about my path that I've been pretending not to know? Or, what is my next right step for me and no one else? Then listen. You may receive words, images, sensations, a single phrase, or just a more profound feeling of calm and knowing. Don't force anything. Let the guidance arrive in its own way, in its own time. Point six then takes us return gently to the body, which we'll do later. And seven is to anchor the guidance. So what I'm going to do now is hop back over to chapter 7 and come back to where we left off. So step 2 was clear your channel. We did that. Step 3, set your intention or prayer. Use the protection and clarity prayer shared earlier in this book, or speak honestly in your own words. Name your desire with integrity. Clarity is an invitation. So the prayer it's talking about, the protection and clarity prayer that I shared earlier, is I'm calling on the highest, holiest, purest, most divine forms of light to guard me, guide me, and protect me in this experience here today in the now. So that just really sets the container with really powerful, direct spoken energy to really just get you grounded in, let it be clear and safe and protected and guiding. Step 4, call on your higher self. Great, we just did that. Ask to be guided. So now this is what we're going to ask. Now that you're connected with your higher self, we are going to ask to be guided to the future timeline that is most aligned with your soul's purpose and your heart's current desire. So if you were reading this, you could speak it back to yourself. Speaking to your higher self, coming back up that golden thread, back up your cord, your etheric cord, while your channel is activated, connecting to your higher self and asking it, please guide me to the future timeline that is most aligned with my soul's purpose and my heart's deepest desires. Trust that your system knows where to go. Step 5, enter the quantum field. Many people visualize this as a golden path, a beam of light, a golden carriage, or a gentle, energetic shift. Others simply feel themselves arrive. There is no correct imagery. Trust what comes naturally. So I want you to take a moment in this meditation and just imagine yourself being pulled in the quantum, led by your higher self, nothing weird, nothing scary, your soul, your spirit, your higher self, right? And allowing yourself to flow into the future. Step 6, we're going to land 10 years in the future now. Arrive gently, look around, sense the environment. Notice the version of you who already exists there. Feel her body, her confidence, her rhythm. Just start getting clear. Maybe you don't see her yet. Maybe you know she's there. Just start sensing yourself in this future time. Step 7, we are going to explore a day in the life. Spend time here. Walk around. Observe without interrogating. Who are you? What have you built? What surrounds you? What does an ordinary day look like in this extraordinary future? Let yourself soak it in. So spend some time here. I'm going to just give you a few breaths to get clear. You can always come back to this and do this process yourself. Observe the house, where you are. What's the nature look like? Are you in the desert, in a mountain, by the beach, in a city? What are the room layouts like? What rooms are you called to? Who else is there? What you look like, what your clothes look like do a day in the life. This is meant to be like mundane. You don't need to see these like big extravagant visions. Actually seeing how your life would be day by day, bit by bit is very helpful to the visioning process. I usually invite my clients to do 10 minutes in this vision, 10 minutes in 10 years is what I call it. So just spend 10 minutes 10 years from now. I am not going to hold this call for 10 minutes, LOL. At this point, you could just pause it for me to bring you back, okay? So I'm going to keep going. If you need to, you can pause this recording, okay? Step 8, return consciously. When the exchange feels complete, reconnect with your higher self and ask it to help you travel back the same way you came in. Right? So we're now going to go back and we're going to leave. It always feels a little hard to leave because it feels so freaking good. Most of the times it feels so good. And you want this so bad, even if it seems so simple. And you promise it. I'll come back. I'll come back. So we're going to go all the way back and feel our bodies being retracted back to the present moment. For us, recording this now, January 1st, 2026. It doesn't matter when you do this. You can do it in the summer. You can do it whenever. Call your body back to the present moment. Anchor fully into your present body. Feel the room, feel your breath. Step 9, integrate. Integration is how the future anchors into the present. Journal, move your body, step outside, create something, or simply sit and breathe. Let the information settle. This vision is the foundation for everything that comes next. It is essential to understand that this process does not pull from fantasy or escapism. It draws from the deepest layers of your heart, often from desires that you have never spoken aloud, dreams you may have tucked away, or recurring longings you assumed were unrealistic. This is why we address the blocks before bringing you here. This is also why I encourage you not to do this practice too frequently. Once a year is enough. Every 6 months may be plenty. This is not something to obsess over or micromanage. It is a compass, not a demand. And while it may seem far reaching to look 10 years ahead, the truth is, if your life stayed the same as it is now, you would still be on a 10-year trajectory. Soul mapping simply allows you to choose the direction of that trajectory consciously. We are not predicting the future. We are revealing potential. We are allowing your heart to show you what it already knows. From here, we will begin tracking backwards, translating what you saw into steps you can walk, decisions you can make, and structures you can build. This is how vision becomes direction. This is how purpose becomes embodied. And this is where the map begins. All right. We're going to go into section 2 now. It's just this and then a closing part, and then we're done with the chapter. I hope you are loving this so far. Okay. Soul mapping, part 2. Let's just dive into it. The strategy. This is where soul mapping moves from mystical insight into lived reality. It's where the future you met becomes more than a beautiful possibility and starts becoming a coordinated path. This part of the process asks you to bring your inner strategist online, not the rigid, hustle-driven version of leadership, but the grounded, focused part of you that knows how to move energy through time. Brian Tracy teaches that clarity is power. The more precise you are about where you are going, the faster your mind and nervous system begin organizing your behavior, choices, and attention around the destination. What we are doing here is not forcing the future. It is aligning with it and then giving your present self something solid to walk toward. Begin by returning to your 10-year vision. Read what you wrote. Sit with it again. Ask yourself now just what you saw. Not just what you saw, but what exists in that future version of your life that does not yet exist now. Look at the structures, the circumstances, the rhythms, the level of responsibility, and the capacity you are holding. The future isn't abstract, it's specific. Sorry, I'm just getting over being sick and I'm realizing how much talking this is right now. Okay. Add specificity and, oh my God, let me try again. The future isn't abstract, it is specific. And specificity is what turns desire into direction. Now, organize what you saw into, this is when we're doing the mapping, okay? So pay attention to this. Organize what you saw into 3 life categories. I recommend keeping this simple and grounded. One category should be personal, how you live, how you feel, how you care for your body, your home, your inner world. One category should be professional, your work, your business, your creative output, your leadership, your impact. The third category is yours to choose, depending on what felt most alive in your vision. For some people, this is health. For others, it will be relationships, family, finances, spiritual devotion. You choose. Choose a category that feels essential to this season of your becoming. Within each category, identify 3 clear goals that were present in your 10-year vision. So you have 3 categories, and then within each of those categories, you're going to have 3 clear goals. These are not vague qualities like happy or successful. They are outcomes. They describe something that exists, something that has been created, something that has taken form. Brian Tracy emphasizes that goals should be written as if they are already real, clear enough that your mind knows what it's aiming for. So these 9 goals, 3 per category, become your long-range anchors. For example, My 10-year vision included multiple books written and published. Once you have your 10-year goals written, we do not jump forward, we move backwards. This is where most people skip a step, and it's why dreams stay distant. Instead of asking, how do I get there someday? You now ask a far more stabilizing question. If this is where I land in 10 years, where must I be in 5 for this to be inevitable? Using the same 3 categories and the same goals, we're going to track backwards to the 5-year mark now, right? So if you need to stop here, you stop here and pause this on the recording, the YouTube, the podcast, whatever. Those are that are live with me. Love you. We're just flowing through it, okay? You're gonna have your 3 categories. You guys can't see me in the podcast here, but you're making 3 different sections in your notebook. You're writing 3 different columns, and you're getting clear about your 3 different categories, and then you're writing 3 goals that you saw in the vision, not that you're making up, that you saw in the vision, right? So for example, like, just if you saw that your house was like, you live now in the mountains in like Colorado somewhere, but you're currently living in Virginia. Okay. We need, so like, be like, okay, moved and lives in Colorado, next to the mountainside, whatever. Okay. So getting really clear about what it is. Also writing it in as if you've already received it, you've already had it, right? So what was mine? Multiple books written and published. It's clear. There's not a lot of fluff in there. It wasn't like, well, I thought I envisioned and saw maybe publishing books. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. Nope. Multiple books written and published. So you want it to be like it has happened, that you have already done it, and you want to get clear about 3. I'm not going to give you examples of all because this stuff takes time. 3 personal, 3 professional, and 3 from another category. Write it down. Now we're going backwards. So track backwards to the 5-year mark. So now right under those sections in your 3 columns where you had 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, under it, you're now going to write 5 years. So you're the top of the page if you're doing this in a journal is 10 years. And then under those, we're going to go 5 years. You are not creating new goals here. Please pay attention to that. You are calibrating progress. Ask yourself honestly and pragmatically, what would need to be true about your life, your work, your capacity, your systems, your income, your visibility, your inner stability 5 years from now for the 10-year vision to be on track? This step grounds your dreams into reality without diminishing it. It gives your nervous system proof that the future is reachable. For example, if I saw myself publishing multiple books in that 10-year vision, then I should have 1 book published by my 5-year goals. Does that make sense, right? I don't need to overwhelm myself with the multiple books. It's like, well, 5 years into, like, I should at least have 1 published by then. This actually happened to me. LOL. Like I'm not even just giving you some random ass example. This is my example. I'm reading the book. Like, it's here. Okay. All right. Now, and again, pause if you need to. Write them out. And then hit play again so we can do the next section. Now we're going to repeat the process. This time tracking from 5 years back to 1 year from now. If you were standing 1 year in the future, just from now, what would need to be in place for you to feel confident that you are moving toward your 5-year goals? Notice I did not say your 10. What needs to happen 1 year from now to know that you are on a trajectory towards those 5 years, those goals? What foundations would need to be laid? What habits were established? What offers are built? when internal shifts stabilize. This is where the vision begins to feel actionable rather than overwhelming. For me, this meant shifting my identity as a writer. Hold on, it's showing me I need to edit this. How's it gonna come up? Let me see. It's having me edit it. I love this. Like, I'm literally editing this book in fucking real time with you guys, but I've got Grammarly and it just told me something was off. Okay. This is where the vision begins to feel actionable rather than overwhelming. For me, this meant making writing one of my 1-year goals. I focused on my writing, and that may sound simple. You might be like, oh, cool. So you started writing? I've always been a writer, but here's what shifted. I focused on my writing across all platforms, becoming known for my transformative words and for anchoring my authority and expertise in the subjects I wanted to become known for: soul purpose and sacred business. Does that make sense? I, at that point years ago, realized like I'm a writer. I need to like identify as a writer. I need to keep writing. Like this is when like even though TikTok's blowing up, it doesn't mean writers can't be on TikTok. I'm not saying that. But even in the fast-paced technology world, I knew back then, I'm like, oh, I need to like if I'm like if I'm writing books, I need to keep my feet on the ground with writing. I need to show up in writing. So I've always still had, even when people are just posting reels and videos, I still write. I've written through all of this explosion of technology. I want to become known as a writer, and people have told me over the years because of this, like, wow, from your writing has saved me to your writing inspires me on a regular basis. I always read everything you put out, right? To people being on my newsletter list. So that was the 1-year shift I could make years ago, was to like really just like accept it, anchor it in that like identity, but also the act of it, to keep writing. It's very different from people who are like, oh, I'm saying I'm going to write and then they never write, or they want to write a book, but then they're never, ever, ever showing up and writing. And I'm not trying to talk shit about anyone. This is a reality. This is a reality. And notice that with yours, right? With these goals that you have, like, are you by 1 year gonna start like embodying the behavior, the personality, the person, the the routines of the person you see now that you're becoming? Okay, we're almost done here. At this point, something important happens. You realize you are no longer holding 10 years in your hands. You have 1-year goals now. Brian Tracy teaches that success is not about massive leaps. It's about focused, consistent movement toward clearly defined objectives. So now we narrow again. Looking at only your 1-year goals, ask yourself one final liberating question. What can I realistically move forward in the next 12 weeks that will meaningfully support these goals? So now we go from 1 year, just quickly back to 12 weeks. I don't even think Brian Tracy does this in his thing. I can't remember. I can't remember. I think it's 90-day goals. Oh yeah, yeah, 12 weeks, 90 days. So okay, maybe it is still Brian Tracy. Sorry, guy. This is where overwhelm dissolves. Also, I learned this because we had to do this at Lululemon. This was like they have all of their employees do that, and I thought it was one of the most brilliant things I ever got to learn, like in corporate, was that, and they didn't care about your goals in the business. They wanted you to get clear about your life goals and where you saw things going. It was a very inspiring position. This is where overwhelm dissolves. All right, 12 weeks is short enough for your body to commit and long enough for real momentum to build. Instead of trying to change your whole life, you are simply choosing where to place your energy for the next season. You are no longer reacting, you are tracking. You are no longer drifting, you are directing. For me, this was the permission slip to write deeply and fully in a time where everything was becoming short form content. I wrote longer Facebook posts, long form emails, long ass sales pages, etc. I wrote across my social media platforms about business and about life. So much so that I had mined 100,000 words before I set out to write this book. So I went back through all of my writing over the last over a decade. That was almost 3 years ago. So 13 years of writing, I went back in mind to start to put together the bones of this book. That's how important it was for me. So looking back, it's like this is when you do quantum leaping. It's like me seeing my future came back and helped my past to get me to the present to where I am now. That's fucking quantum work, baby, right? Perfectly said. The next line. This is how timelines collapse. This is how 10-year visions arrive in 5. This is how 5-year dreams began unfolding within a single year. Not by obsessing over the future, but by showing up for the next right step, by revitalizing your map, by staying in a relationship with your North Star. You do not need to carry the entire journey at once. You only need to stay oriented and keep walking. This is a strategy in the service of the soul. Okay, last section here, and we are done. Holding the vision, walking the path. If there is one truth I want you to carry forward from this chapter, let it be this. Clarity, when nourished by consistent attention, will change your life, not in a poetic or theoretical way, but in a tangible, undeniable, real-world way. When you give something your attention, especially something rooted in truth, purpose, and desire, it begins to reorganize your choices, your energy, and eventually your reality around it. The shift begins the moment you stop waiting for the perfect time. It deepens when you build a relationship with your path before formalizing it. It strengthens when you offer your dreams a stable bridge instead of demanding they survive a panic leap. Hold on, one more edit. It's telling me this should be something else. And it accelerates when you protect your attention as if it were sacred currency, because it is. When you continue to track your true north, revisit your vision, and use tools like soul mapping to stay oriented, your entire trajectory begins to shift. I know this because I am living proof. The woman who once sat on the floor, heartbroken that only 33 people signed up for her, that only 3 people signed up for her $33 workshop, is the same woman who now leads a global community, multiple programs, a business school, and a gym, and is writing a book that you are holding in your hands. That was the story I opened the chapter with, and I can't go back and read it right now. You're just gonna have to buy the book, bitch. Just kidding. Let me see, where am I? That outcome didn't happen because the path was easy. It didn't happen because doubt vanished or because success arrived on schedule. It happened because I kept tracking. I kept showing up. I kept holding the vision, even when it felt too big, too far away, or too unreasonable for the version of me standing at the beginning. And when you hold a vision with that level of devotion, something extraordinary begins to occur. Timelines collapse. I've witnessed it in my own life again and again. I've watched it unfold in my clients' lives for over a decade. 10-year visions begin to land in 6. 5-year dreams start to take form within a single year. I still receive messages, emails, voice notes, quiet confessions saying, it's happening. Everything I saw is unfolding so much faster than I ever imagined. I literally just had a client session before recording this where I helped her. She had when we started working together, she had a 5-year goal. I invited her to do it within a year. She crushed it in 9 months. Her 5-year goal, she made happen in 9 months. Now we just had a whole nother of her vision. We've been working together since 2022. It's 26, so almost 4 years together. She just had a whole other vision land into her today on this call, like on the call before I'm recording this, right? Like it just keeps fucking going, baby. Like, and she shows up and she is devoted and she gets help and she has guidance and she's got a support system. She's in our school. It happens. It just fucking happens. It's magic, but it's not. It's also earth magic. It's also evolution, right? It's meeting your desires in the middle. I always say this, meet your desires in the middle. Stop sitting around and waiting for the shit you want to show up in life. It's bullshit. That's not manifestation. Meet your manifestations in the middle. Okay. This isn't a coincidence. It isn't luck. It isn't some mystical accident. It is the natural response of the quantum field to clarity, consistency, and focused attention. When you know where you're going and keep returning to that knowing, life reorganizes itself around your commitment. Even though the second half of soul mapping can feel more structured, more strategic, more linear, I want you to remember this. The power is not in the spreadsheet. The power is in holding the vision. The map exists to support your remembrance, not replace it. Return to your future self often. Revisit your map. Let your desires evolve. Adjust the timeline if needed. Stay in the conversation with where you're going. It doesn't require hours of ritual or relentless discipline. It doesn't demand perfection or punishment. Sometimes it's as simple as a few conscious breaths each day, a moment of remembering who you are becoming and why it matters. Presence is enough. Attention is enough. Devotion is enough. When you keep showing up for the future that already belongs to you, the path rises to meet you. Now that you've seen where you're going and felt what's possible when you hold a vision with clarity and devotion, it's time to bring the future into the present in a tangible way. A vision without embodiment stays abstract, and a map without movement never changes the landscape. This is where your future self begins to reach backward and guide your current self forward. The next step is not about doing everything at once. It's about choosing the correct expression of your work right now. The offer you create today is not meant to carry your entire destiny. It's meant to move you one honest step closer to it. In the next chapter, we're going to translate your long range vision into aligned offers. Work you can put into the world that builds momentum, creates income, and keeps you in integrity with who you are becoming. This is where purpose becomes practical and where your future starts funding itself. Okay. Woo! That definitely took as long as it would to just do the whole fucking workshop. LOL. Reading that much is a lot. I only fumbled a few times. All right. Thank you guys for spending January 1st with me. Thank you for listening to this whole chapter. I hope this has gotten you excited about the book. I have got to finish up a few more chapters, get this fourth draft version, which I hope you see how good it sounds already, to my editor for her to, I don't know what she's going to do to it. I'm so scared. I'm so nervous. Guys, another thing that just makes you tremble, right? But it's actually the support I need. It's the guidance and support I need because this project is bigger than me. And she sees and knows that too. So please get help. Huge shout out to Big Time Publishing with our girl Jessie. Thank her so much, guys. Reach out to her. She's amazing. She's helping people like me bring their dreams into reality. So this will be out soon. I don't know how long, how many edits we're going to do. Then I got to do formatting. Then we make a book cover and then we start doing, I think there's like proofreading that happens and then we start doing it. We start going with the publishing. So hopefully in a few months, this thing will be out. If you liked all this and you like me, I have a full business school, 17 courses, 205 business calls is what the library to the school just hit. Okay, we have got it for you, baby. If you want it and need it, the programs that you'll hear about in the book, like the Idea Incubator, the Embodied Entrepreneur. In February, we're starting Mind Your Business again. It's a 28-day distraction detox. I've got loads of things for you. I've got 3 free things, paid things. I've got mentorship and coaching with me. I've got a mastermind, take it to the next level mastermind. The school you can get access to just starting at $97 a month. You can get access to all the recordings, 17 courses, 205 recordings. And also me on Fridays. I show up for live coaching and hot seat coaching every Friday. Tomorrow, we're actually having our seasonal strategy planning. This is also something you can come to on a quarterly basis. I do it as the season shift. We're doing it tomorrow because we're off for the school. We have 2 weeks off during the holiday and the summer solstice, the winter solstice and the summer solstice. I run my business on the wheel of the year. I run it in a very feminine, organic, earth-based way, as we are able to connect to our divine contracts and the work we're here to do and make the impact we're here on the planet. This is what I do. This is my life. This is what I fucking live for. And this is what this book will help you with. Launch your light. So, this has been such a blast. Thank you all for joining us. Watch this, listen to this. If you were listening on the podcast, but you want to see me the whole time, go to my YouTube. And again, come into the school. We've got great, accessible, life-changing work in that school that you'll start to feel shifts within days of being in there, let alone weeks and months. All right. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for spending your time with me. And I can't wait to see who moves forward with us. Talk soon.